Hello everybody, welcome to a brand new Let's Play series on Hearts of Iron 4 Kaiserreich. Today we're going to play the American Union State, and we're going to be going down the War Powers Committee path, the business plot. I don't, do people play this path? I don't think people really play this path too often, but we are going to do it so today. So it's currently February 20th, 1937. The American Union State has declared itself against the federal government, currently led by MacArthur. We'll go down our form a militia to a fighting force. Civilian factories, of course, are going to build all of those down here in Louisiana, just because that's going to be as far away from enemy fronts as possible. We currently have 13 divisions. What are we even researching? We dispersed industry. Okay, well, nothing I can do about that. We got dispersed industry, construction 2, and 38 rifles. That's actually, it's not a bad. You know, that's actually completely reasonable. Yeah, no, that's completely fine. The AI's taken some decent researches here. It will take a little while to get done. Actually, wait, you're 37, right? Like, this is something, again, I should know. Yeah, they're 37 techs. Fantastic. You have 13 units here. We should be able to recruit some militia. We want to recruit them from the biggest state, which right now is northern Texas. Yeah, so get 9 divisions out of you. And Red Army. I think our main objective, we're going to split these guys into smaller groups. Mostly, I don't know how the front lines are going to shape out. I mean, MacArthur could flee all the way over to the West Coast. He could try to just hold on to Washington, D.C. He could try to just hold on to everything. So we need to get our units ready. So I think Red Army, your task should be to have units here. Blue Army, your units will be kind of in the middle for now, and then Brown Army, your units will be over in Texas. Get all 3 of you underneath a field marshal. We'll go with yeah, Patton's at 4111. So we'll get you in charge, followed by you. Kind of want just like whoever has the best attack value. I mean, okay, actually, yellow line's over here. I probably actually want a good defense general. Let's go with a 132. I mean, you're a 1323. Combat penalty. You know what? Let's assign you to this front, and then Blue Army here will go for you. Mostly because I think for the fronts facing towards California, we kind of just want to be as defensive as possible. Because what I want to do is I want to take over the east as quickly as humanly possible. You have a handful of aircraft. We're going to assign all of those over to Red Army. Yeah, so you want to be able to move our way towards Washington. So we can kill either MacArthur, the CSA, or the Legion of New York City. We don't care about that too much. Rise to New England and New York. MacArthur's been sworn in as president. I think we did play in the United States fairly recently, so we're not going to read all of those events. Southern governors I met in Baton Rouge. This one I will read because it actually has to do with our country. A large crowd recently gathered outside the State House of Baton Rouge to congratulate Huey Long for defying the federal government. News agencies were soon to arrive on the scene when suddenly the crowd began unfurling the battle flag of the old Confederacy. Sensing an impending political disaster, Huey Long had his men confiscate these radical symbols of the Civil War. When the governor arrived, the press only saw the image of a defiant American determined to fight the illegitimate powers of federal corruption and syndicalist oppression. The governors are now meeting with Long inside the State House to determine a proper response to the federal government's deadline. Okay, so you have a handful of units down here, and again, I want to deploy them all against MacArthur. So if you can push away, take DC as quickly as possible, and then push against the CSA. That has to be, I think, the best option for us. I did not turn off Fog of War. Now I have. Okay, we have no units in training, but I think we want units in training. We need more factories here on guns. Everything else seems to be basically okay. Federal deadline looms in 23 days. Western governors are defected to the PSA. Not a huge surprise. Okay, so the illusion of the U.S. Navy, which will give us some ships. I don't know really what I'm going to do with these ships too much. We'll assign them right now just to be in Georgia. Okay, Socialist forces captured Minnesota. The AFP has declared Declaration of Legitimacy. While many of the Southern senators were in favor of drafting a new amendment on the spot, the urge to retain legitimacy as the continuous United States prevailed. The AFP declared the legitimacy was drafted in Baton Rouge over the course of a few days, painstakingly listing their grievances with the federal government. This declaration outlined the lack of protection that the federal government gave to citizens and the role of the state to protect the welfare of the poor. The signatories declared that within their constitution right to organize a militia against tyranny, and that the federal government's deadline should not only be ignored, but must be defied. And Lindenberg appeals to Long. Charles Lindenberg has arranged a meeting between Huey Long and a number of leading industrialists, including Henry Ford, Fred Koch, and H.L. Hunt. These men are inclined to close their factories and refineries within the South to comply with orders of the federal government. However, they are instead persuaded by Lindenberg to stick up for Huey Long and move their business empires into the American Union state on a few conditions. They've asked that Huey Long guarantee that some political expectation to them in these dire economic times, as well as a promise of political office once the war is won. If Long agrees to their demands, it will give them greater influence, and many of his supporters will wonder if he plans on betraying his ideals. However, refusing in such a time may prove costly. What we want to do is that we want to agree to their reasoning. We get 3 military factories, which just by itself is nice. But in order for us to actually do the business plot, we must agree to this reasoning. So we get 3 excellent military factories. We're using those for our infantry equipment. New Mexico has fallen to Huey Long's government. As federal soldiers and Marines left Arizona and New Mexico, they took most of the militiamen and the National Guardsmen with them, promising to return them to their homes by way of Baton Rouge by the end of the year. Unfortunately for McAllister's government, stripping New Mexico of defenders left it open for takeovers from nearby. Steaming up the Pecos and racing along the roads to Albuquerque and Santa Fe, Huey Long, loyal militiamen, our Minutemen and National Guard captured the greater part of New Mexico before the police knew what was happening. Soon, Progressive Governor Tingley surrendered the state via radio before fleeing west of the PSA, taking most of the administration of the state with him. Yes, I think Yellow Army, what I want you to do is to be bordering the Pacific government. Blue Army, for the most part, should be kind of doing like this. I know you don't have enough combat width for this, but don't worry about that right now. Oh, I need to raise more units. Right. Next up will be 8 units in Georgia. And again, we're going to assign those also to Red Army. Iowa surrenders. Okay, that's going to the CSA. Very, very sad for us. Okay. Occupation of Northern Rocky Mountains. And all of you. Well, you're already in Blue Army. I think I want all of these units just to be going to Red Army. See, I mean, do I? Because we're gonna get 8 units in Georgia. You know what? Let's send you to Blue Army for now. Okay, Denver Conference results for Long. Following the withdrawal of federal troops from the lower plains, Republican Governor Carr of Colorado called for a meeting of the governors of Kansas, Colorado, and Nebraska in Denver. While the governors of Colorado and Nebraska were from establishment parties, Governor Ketchum of Kansas was an AFP member. This allowed for greater flexibility in choosing their side in a national conflict that was rapidly sinking into war. Ultimately, after a tense few days, the governor decided that the only side truly interested in helping American people was Huey Long's government in Louisiana. And the 3 states had invited in the Minutemen, as well as developing an army loyal to President Long to keep the peace in the states. Excellent. So Yellow Army, we're going to extend your line again north like this. Blue line. We're going to kind of just draw more plants here. I mean, obviously, this area in North and South Dakota is not resolving for MacArthur. I mean, it's kind of landlocked. CSA partisans in Buffalo. Longest victory in Tennessee and the battles of Eads Bridge. This is for... yeah, that's for the CSA. And North South Dakota has gone to the CSA. Today at 8:45 a.m., Long's militias assaulted federal defenses in Nashville while they're still reorganizing from the retreat east. The organized National Guardsmen and a few Army units presented were very quickly surrounded and forced to surrender. As soon as the city of Nashville had surrendered to President Long's forces, across the state, local Minutemen and Long's sympathizers secured the countryside in most towns. And most agree Huey Long control over Tennessee is undisputed. Okay, so I get more units up here now. Again, I want all of Red Army on the border with the federal government, not on the border with the CSA. And I want all the Blue Army on the border with the CSA. Excellent. Oh, wait, can I do all of them? Wait, you can do 2 at once? When did they change that? When could you have gotten 2? Okay, the American Union State Congress convenes. Through the grapevine, dozen congressmen have heard of Huey Long's assembly in Baton Rouge. Some came to wish Long well and stayed, others simply to court favor with the revolution. The members, these meetings in Baton Rouge began to take on a congressional... Hello, apologies for that. These meetings in Baton Rouge began to take on a congressional appearance, with Coughlin standing as the president of the attending senators, where the growing determination to fight the federal government and a lack of a willingness to negotiate meant civil war was all but certain. A large number of politicians have slinked away to the north, though those that remain seem more determined than ever to see victory. North Carolina has fallen to the Baton Rouge government. Although many longest resources have been diverted west, the Baton government still clearly had enough militia to surround the city of Charlotte in North Carolina. After a brief street fighting, captured it. Throughout the state, North Carolina militia obeyed the orders of their new puppet governor to surrender to Huey Long's forces. Okay, there we go. We even got more territory. The Federalists routed in Kentucky. Well, okay, well now you're owned by the CSA. I will probably keep these red... I mean, how many units? We have 6 units here. We're going to have 8 more... Oh no, they've actually already risen up. Fantastic. We can then get 9 in North Carolina. All these units in Georgia, we're going to assign you over to this order now. How much longer until these units rise up? We got 7 more days. Okay, New England submits to MacArthur. The deadline has loomed, and Paley pledges allegiance to Long. One of the more unusual well-wishers to visit Huey Long is the eccentric but passionate man named William Dudley Paley. Paley is the leader of the all-white Legionnaires political and religious social club called the Silver Legion. His membership shies is moderate, but his enthusiasm for Huey Long's ideals is unsettlingly enthusiastic. Paley has come in with a request for money to take on Evangelicus and Patriotic Tour America to gather supporters of the American Union State. This proposal would imply Huey's followers that he supports a fledgling Christian identity movement, which clashes with his personal distaste for a political ideology of Klansmen and prohibitionists. How shall we respond? We get 10 free units. Boom, there we go. It's already been decided. So you have 1 unit here. Well, you're the unit from Georgia. Okay, we're going to assign you to Red Army. And the deadline has loomed. So I think we get those factories probably once the war actually breaks out. Because we don't even have our factories quite yet. Longest suppressed in New Jersey. There's no way that the longest can even get New Jersey ever, right? Like, that's just not a thing I think that can happen. Or at least I'm pretty sure. And now the Second American Civil War has begun. We have these 2 beautiful units in Never. Okay, we'll assign you to Yellow Army now. 8 units in Tennessee. There we go. Next up is Tennessee. We'll get these units going. Red Army needs to immediately begin pushing. You have like an open territory right here. Let's see if we can maybe like take our way to Richmond like ASAP. I don't know how likely that is to actually occur. Okay, Sweden joined up with the Reichspakt. Battle for Philadelphia is not a huge concern for us. We're gonna have you guys do a very basic and careful battle plan. You know, these Red Army units, you guys can move your way over to Chicago. But overall, this just, I think, overall, you're building a, the AI was building a fuel silo? Okay, sure, why not? Somehow I didn't even realize that. Okay, let's build some military factories over to here. We will capture Richmond in just a moment. Of course, MacArthur's not going to capitulate just because we take over Washington, D.C. They still have, like, Boston way up in the north. So you have 15 units on this line. 7 units for some reason around Norfolk. Well, not much we can do about that right now. We got defense on core territory, reinforcement rate plus 1%. Attack in core territory, organization 5%. I'm kind of thinking about you. Or your plan, which is organization, recovery rate goes down, but you get 10% more attack in core territory. Core territory sucks. Because the only core territory we actually have is down, like, in the deep American South. So we're going to go for the reform plan. I think that makes the most amount of sense for us. Doctrines available. We'll go superior firepower. I thought that they said they're going to give us 10 free units. I don't know what happened to that. Apparently, it's going to take a little bit longer than anticipated. Let's go to St. Louis. Move these units up. And I want you to go to... Where's your supply hub? Your supply hub's here. Go take the supply hub from the CSA. Okay, we've taken Richmond. Honestly, just walk your way straight over to Washington. We've got more units here. And I kind of want all of you to deploy your way into Red Army for now. I'm going to take these units, assign you into blue. Same with one of you. Red Army, you're going to shrink your line down to just, again, being on federal territory. Blue Army's going to, you know, extend a little bit. And the troops against Pacific State, again, we're not going to worry even remotely about them. They don't, it's not that they don't matter. You know, don't misconstrue it like that. We're going to have these 4 units here. You're still going to walk your way towards Washington. It's not going to kill you. I'm like 90% certain. You're walking. Okay, where are you walking to? Be gone in a day. The War's Power Committee. Business leaders in our territory have formed a committee ostensibly in support of Huey Long in order to coordinate the war effort on his behalf. Called the War Power Committee. Just as Huey Long himself has created offices to handle the monumental task of fighting for America, so did the industrialists take it upon themselves to create an industrialized institution. Though they do not have all the power they were promised, they still have declared themselves to be the arsenal of the American Union State, and have led to controversially anti-Semitic but respected General George von Horn Mosley. Thank you for the 3 off-map military factories. I do appreciate it. We'll use that to make more guns. Okay, so we've taken over Louisville. Get these units to go like this. You will be gone now. We have observer rights on Legation Council. I mean, that's nice. I will certainly take that. Okay, Red Army still doing a good job. We've actually surrounded a American CSA troop. Excellent for us. Okay, you've now been encircled. You got destroyed. Bring more units around. I want all of you to march your way towards Washington, D.C. I need to take that city ASAP. You now have 7 units. Again, all of you here. We're going to let these units continue to push your way in. Okay, you guys will go around Washington. You move your way in like this. We can put 4 divisions on this line. The rest of you, we do need to assign some more units over to the Pacific Front, so that's going to be your job. Can we raise any more militias? We can. Who has the most? Mississippi and Southern Texas. We go Southern Texas here. Move this unit up, move this unit up. More CSA troops are arriving. We actually got 2 different encirclements. I'm actually quite happy with that. That's pretty good for us. Build some more military factories down south. Put 3 units here. I'm not even too sure why. But overall, I don't think MacArthur's going to last too long. We're over our penalty. How much are we over? Only 1.8%. That's actually not too bad. But I do think that, at least for right now, at the beginning of the American Civil War, I mean, we actually start off on a pretty... Basically got like 4 different encirclements right now, which I'm pretty happy with. I think it's going to be a good time for us to end this episode. So thanks everybody for watching. My name is Anthem. If you enjoyed, give it a thumbs up. Not do it, click something down. You want to see more, subscribe, and goodbye.